You're listening to the Motivated Mindset Podcast with Bobby Stein.
Hey guys, welcome into another episode of the Motivated Mindset Podcast, and today is another glorious afternoon. It's sunny, high of 84 and 0% chance of precipitation, and I hope wherever you are that you are having a glorious day as well and the weather's cooperating. Hope your Thanksgiving was good. Hope it was restful and pleasant, and you're ready to get back after it. This episode, by the way, as always, is brought to us by our friends at Von Barron Motorcycles, vonbarronmotorcycles.com. Be sure to visit them for all their offerings. You will be glad you did, and thank you, Von Barron, for sponsoring the channel. We appreciate that. But today is coming up to the last day of November, and of course, December's right around the corner, meaning the first of the year is shortly thereafter. And what happens during the first of the year and resolution, goals, we're going to set our minds to improving our physiques is typically a big one, right? Losing some weight, getting that new profession, starting that business, becoming a solopreneur, mending old fences with friends, etc. And typically goals go by the wayside because they lack the energy or the fortitude that's required behind them to bring them to pass. But what precedes a goal? Typically it's an idea, and that's what I wanted to talk to you today about today, is ideas. And what is an idea? Well, Webster's describes it as such, but my idea of an idea is it's a thought. It's a flash of inspiration. It's an imagining. It's an image. It's something that we want to see come to pass, and it usually precedes the goal, right? The glorious thing about ideas is that they capture our interest, and then that interest gets converted into energy and subsequent enthusiasm, which then engages the mechanism of the imagination, which brings it to pass, right? So an idea is key. That's the foundation point. And an idea, nothing that we've experienced in our lifetimes, anything that's here on the planet, be it the clothes that we wear, the chair that we're sitting on, the car that we drive, the computer that we type on, everything was first an idea or an imagination in the minds of men or women. Nothing could be made without that. So ideas are extremely important. Many times we'll see something and we have an idea to do something, and we'll say we don't execute on that idea. And then shortly thereafter we'll see it as a product on television. We'll say, I had that idea, damn it. But there's a reason, I think, for that in many cases. And what I think happens is that you or I may get an idea, and it may seem big, and we don't commit to it. And we look at it as though, how are we going to get from point A to Z and all the processes in between? How's that going to happen? How's that going to take place? And I think a lot of times that job is not up to us. That job is up to the subconscious mind and the mechanism of the imagination. And by that I mean, when we do get an idea, I think it's paramount to commit to it. For instance, we can take something that we're thinking of and from the invisible inside of our mind, and put it down on paper. So now it becomes tangible and it's physical. So that's step number one. But the other thing is that we can take an idea, if we're serious about it and we're committed to it, and really give it a lot of conscious thought, conscious intensity, intent, deliberation, how to solve it, go about it, and everything like that. Not so much as to how the process is going to take place, but the end result of that idea. What's going to look like? How's it going to go over in the marketplace or with the individual, this idea that I'm proposing to them or presenting to them? Visualizing that end result, because what happens is when we pour our intensity and our conscious effort into it, we kind of hit a wall after a while, which is good, because then what we can do is leave it up to the subconscious mind to kind of take it from beneath and bubble up an idea. Thomas Edison would do that, the great inventor. He would have a pressing issue, and he'd just be missing that one puzzle piece. He might have had 5 digits to the combination of the lock, which required 6, and that sixth one was missing. So he would lay his head down for a cat nap, 10 or 15 minutes. And upon his awakening, what he would do is he would find like a flash of inspiration come by that many times was the exact component or piece that he needed to solve his problem. Genius, right? Well, it's not really genius. I think we all have that capacity and that capability, right? We can all think, we can all imagine, we can all make images, we can all have ideas. But I think that the genius part about it is to consciously take the idea apart piece by piece, put it on paper, try and rationalize it as best we can without getting anxious for the process of A to Z, because that's going to be furnished to us and inspired to us by the subconscious mind. You know, the subconscious mind is going to take our idea and it will go out and garner resources, the people, the connections, the circumstances that our conscious mind would never even really think of. I mean, it's quite amazing the mechanism that's built into each of us. It's our own personal genie. It's our own personal genius. So get enthused about your idea and your goal and your vision and your mission, because the root word of enthusiasm is entheos, which means God within. So if you got the power of God, you've got the tools and mechanisms of the imagination and the subconscious, the wind's at your back. The clouds are fleecy, the sun is shining. You got to go for it. Commitment's all important, though. You know, John F. Kennedy in 1962 professed in front of millions on TV, including his whole staff and the vice president and everything, in front of the masses, that he wanted to take the space program and put somebody on the moon and deliver him back safely by the year 1969. And without that commitment, he wouldn't had his feet to the fire. There wouldn't have been any accountability. But subsequently, what happened was all those thousands of imaginations, those thousands of the collective mind got behind his vision and his mission and his goal through his commitment and his profession and proclamation that he was going to see this thing come to pass. Well, they did it. And you may argue the fact that they never landed anybody on the moon. That's a big conspiracy. And I buy that. I mean, I can understand where you're coming from. But we cannot take away from the fact that there is space travel. There is planes, trains, automobiles, computers, the clothes we wear, the chairs we sit in. All that stuff was an idea that started in the minds of men and women and became manifest through the tools that we just spoke about. So really intriguing. Powerful tool. The mind, and the powerful tool that resides on in between our ears, a supercomputer. When we have an idea, don't just dismiss it and it'll be like a wish and go away. Don't be the person that says I could have had that idea, or and the other thing about it is, many times there's an idea, we think there's no fresh ideas. Well, we don't necessarily need a fresh idea. How many of Edison's inventions have been improved upon and an idea made to tweak a product to enhance it, to bring it to bear to benefit even more people. So whatever you lay your eyes on, whatever you feel intently about an idea, consider entertaining it, because it gives you purpose. It gives me purpose. It provides interest. Interest provides energy and enthusiasm, and then that mechanism of the mind takes over. And many times we'll press real hard for a conscious conclusion to or solution to our pressing problem, and things do bubble up from the subconscious mind, and it'll do so when we're really unaware. We'll do it. It'll happen when we're shaving. It'll happen when we're driving, or even when we're in the shower in the morning after a good night's sleep of thinking about the problem before we drifted off to sleep. It'll bubble up. So although the vision tarries, it won't be it won't be late. Be faithful and wait. It's sure to come to pass. Every idea, every vision has its season. There is a seed time and harvest. It's been said that the chicken takes 21 days. The human takes 9 months. The elephant, 21 months. The flower, a couple days. So every vision has its appointed fruition. And every idea, when contemplated on and buried deep down in the subconscious and formulated with the proper use of the imagination, will come to pass. But every vision and idea, we don't know when it's going to birth. We don't know when it's going to show up on the scene. So I hope that lands on your ear with some sort of encouragement. And I know I didn't dig too deep into it. I'll get into it further in another episode. But I did want to share that to you with the New Year's coming up here shortly, the next 30, 45 days, something like that. When you have an idea, feel free to execute on it, because more times than not, with the proper execution, you can see it come to pass. So with that being said, I wanted to thank you for your ears. Thank you for your eyeballs. And as always, friends, please take good care.
You've been listening to another episode of the Motivated Mindset podcast with your host, Bobby Stein. Thank you for tuning in.